Alright, so this is a Masters Genji. A little bit of skipping there. Okay. So tough one there. So you weren't in a bad position from the fact that you're clearly going to go on some sort of target or on some sort of dive. And for example, like if you had a monkey here with you and you both drop down, the monkey fall damage, the monkey melee damage, and your dash damage can make it so you guys can delete a target. But you hold this position and then go for the monkey here and show yourself when you jump out. So now you've really messed up, because now you're going down for a monkey who you are not going to farm easily, especially not solo, and you're giving this Widow free reign. Or even if you stayed here and waited to dive the Widow, like you probably should, she knows you're here because she saw you moving around and doing that like half jump. So you had kind of the foundations of a good spot, but then bad execution and just showing yourself on that spot led to this spot actually being like a throw. And then you see we were just kind of lost the whole time. We used our cooldown kind of for nothing, and everything went bad for you. Or maybe, you know, if you would have stayed in that spot from the start. So like, we're on Temple of Anubis. So if you would have just stayed in that spot from the start and used your sound cues or your team, it is such a short dive onto this bridge, and you can erase Widows there. Because by time that, even if you use your dash cooldown to get there and stuff, so Widow drops and grapples back up, and by the time she does all that, your dash is almost off cooldown again. And so you can jump right back up, and then her grapple will not be on cooldown, so you'll have a good time. Otherwise, if they ran, say, like a Ryan comp and sped past you guys straight to point, you can still kind of chill here, and they're gonna have some sort of backline. So you're just hanging out here still, and then you drop on their backline. Or if they really wanted to push maybe around this way or through here, those would really be like, or up top, those would really be some of like all three of the routes that they would kind of take. So this one, you can wait to go on their backline. Any of these, you can go on any sort of Widow or anything right here. That's just always an option. But so you can wait to go on their backline. This one, you can do the exact same thing. Wait to go on their backline. And this one, crazy, you can do the exact same thing and go on their backline. And so you have great choices, but you jumped down and went for a frontline tank, which is not a great choice, and really is what got you killed, because then you ended up in kind of like a kill box right about here, where most of your enemies are there and they're very committed to you, and you don't have any sort of easy escape, especially not once we used the dash to jump into nothing, essentially.
He's dead. Hanzo purple. I'm dead. Maze on me.
Not bad. I do agree with your choice to go for the Widow. I get what was going on there. The solution to know that you were going to get fucked by the Genji there would have just been to hit tab, in all honesty. Because that was a big switch in their comp. They didn't have the Genji previously. And you know, if you would have seen that they had a Genji, you would have known that, oh, I need to maybe play a little bit differently. Maybe I do need to stick around point because he's already respawning. And probably would have had a better time.
Listen on me behind left. He's purple.
The Genji's still on you. He's peeling. So you're not going to win this. And we knew the Genji was on us because his shurikens were like flying behind us like most of this time here. There he is on his right side. Still shooting at you, missing. There he is, still hitting you. So we need to pay maybe just a little bit more attention on that.
We don't need a shatter here.
And then that, minor, because you knew that your enemies were going to be on the point, yes. But I don't like that you bladed before you saw what was going on here. So you press your Q right there, and you haven't even gotten to look yet, and you just used your dash cooldown. What if, for some strange reason, so your Ryan is, well, it'll be better served by a map. Your Ryan is over here, right? What if for some strange reason every single one of your enemies had decided that they had to farm the Rhine close? Stranger things have happened, and it probably happens every day to someone. So here you go. Dash, blade, dash. Cool. So now you're just standing here blading. All your enemies are over here. What good is this doing? None at all. And you had no way to even know if something like that was going to happen because of the fact that you didn't look at where your enemies were when you bladed. So that's not even necessarily an example of terrible ult usage. Yes, it was your ult, but that's more so an example of bad ability usage because we used our dash early, kind of dumbly, and then we couldn't get close enough on our blade.
Widow's sleeping left side.
You don't need to go help them kill the Widow. You have more important things to do.
Speed boosting.
Nice cleanup.
Good job, guys.
Really nice cleanup.
Thank you. Oh shit. Oh.
Were you duoed with your Ana? Yeah, you were. Okay.
Thank you. Oh shit. Oh. Thank you for the help this year.
A much better choice, you know, looking at this now. So now, in my mind, I'm kind of saying, okay, so that was the monkey, so I have nothing to worry about here. He doesn't threaten me, and he doesn't have an ult. This one, I'm looking at and I'm saying, okay, I actually have not seen Blade in a while, so I need to really think about that. This one, I'm looking and I have not seen Blizzard in a while. This one, I know he just sound barriered my Blade. This one, I know he just switched. And then Ana, you know, maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know one or two. And so I start to look at this kind of big picture here, in between these team fights that are kind of down. And I say, okay, so I'm going to have my Blade very soon. Probably sooner than my Ana's going to have her Nano. But I know for a fact they don't have sound barrier. So why don't I just Blade as soon as I get it? I could definitely get a kill or two, because they don't have any counter to me at all. Not even anything bubbles, or the only thing I need to dodge is sleep. So I'd be looking at this percentage and whether or not she used sleep to see if I could get like a nice blade off. Here, I would be looking at, okay, so we do have mines, but Hammond has a hard time killing Mei, hard time killing Genji, hard time killing Ryan, can displace Ryan a lot, and a hard time killing Reaper. So here I would be thinking, okay, maybe I can see if we don't want a Hammond solo tank. Ask him if there's another tank that he plays or something like that. Here, I'm looking at the Sombra and I'm saying, okay, so we're super far from EMP, but maybe we can get a nice hack on the Reaper that denies his escape when he comes in. So maybe I should be watching for the positioning of the Reaper and the Sombra, because I can, you know, play to where I'll be in position to dash onto the Reaper when he gets hacked. And then here, I would just be looking to make sure that my Brig was somewhere around my Ana to make sure that she's going to stay alive. I would, though, in one further step, be paying very close attention to this. We pretty much guarantee that he has Blade, and it may be a Nano Blade because we don't know what the Ana has, and they don't have any ults. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I either need to pressure now that I've gone through all of the possible scenarios and what's going on, I basically can aim it down to one thing. I need to pressure Genji or Ana to make sure, even if I don't necessarily kill them or whatever, that I can get my Lucio or Brig enough time to get their ults up. And yes, Brig isn't perfect to counter a Nano Blade, but it's better than having nothing. Like right now, I'm not worried about taking some like high flanking position up here. I'm worried about putting pressure on the Ana and the Genji. And I go, here's your blade, so I want to see blade first. And there's the nano blade.
Nope, I don't have it.
That's something you even just could have communicated to your team, you know? You guys need to play in a little bit of a different spot, a little bit of a different area, spread out a little bit more or something. They got caught out with a nano blade that we very easily kind of diagnosed there, and they were all down below. It was super simple for that Genji to get those kills, and I'm kind of embarrassed for that Genji that he didn't get more. Your blade at the end, it's whatever. It wasn't good, but it was just a last second, and you were contesting as well as trying to blade, so I don't see a point in focusing too much on it.
Speed boosting, let's go.
Widow's on.
Guys, come. I'm speed
So
boosting
what
you.
is your deflect here for?
Speed boosting, let's
So your
go.
deflect is either to stop the Widow from headshotting you, or to stop the McCree flashbang. Widow is not even looking at you, because you literally deflect right now. And McCree is also not looking at you quite yet. And so this was super preemptive. Like, why are we doing this? We are in no danger. They're not even looking at us. And then we don't block the flashbang, which is really the only thing we need to block.
Widow's on.
Guys, come. I'm speed boosting for you. Ryan is low ground.
Ana's on.
Nice. Follow up. I don't know why you didn't turn around for the Widow that was there too. She was almost one at one point. We let her get healed up, unfortunately, and then she got two. That is a big yikes. So
Ryan
watch
is
this
low
right here. Widow and Ana. Half.
Ana's on.
She uses her grapple. No, she's still there. We got the Ana, so we have our dash reset. Still there. Still there. I suppose you did stay on her a tiny bit more than I thought, but still super unfortunate she didn't die there. Why would you not climb up left side right now and farm the Widow? So I would be on this left side, and there's windows right here where, in case you didn't know, you can jump all the way back to like that left platform kind of area that Widows stand on and stuff like that. And you could be having a good time back there. You can have a very easy flank. You can eliminate Widow's retreat routes. But then we kind of just end up shooting into a shield instead, because this is just a weird room for us to be in right now.
Lucio. Good job, now go.
Unfortunate.
Get Ana. Good job, don't waste more ultimates.
Not bad, and if this was a different match, where if this was like a scrim or something, I would kind of be upset with your blade usage there. But I also have no doubt that your team actually might have lost that if you didn't blade. And so I will tell you that sometimes it is worth it. Did you waste your ult there? Yes. Yes, you did. But did you cap the point? Yes. And I can't be too mad at that.
Mid. I'm sleeping mid.
Good choice. Turning around for the deflect.
Thank you.
Second early, but good choice. Your actual game sense there was fantastic. Just a tiny bit better use of your abilities, and you would have had a good time.
Ryan.
Ryan sleep.
Speed boosting. Oh, keep still fighting.
Tell me when
Get
you're
Moira. Moira.
Yeah, unfortunately, kind of very all over the place there with the Hanzo and then on point. We didn't really have commitment to a target.
Moira, guys.
Hanzo is a great target,
Face is behind.
But maybe you either needed to stay on him more to make sure you got that kill, or you needed to not stress about him so you could help your team on point.
We need to focus.
But you didn't end up doing either. You didn't end up doing either, unfortunately.
Mara survived for 1.5 minutes.
So like I'm assuming that you're gonna be looking to blade here.
Why?
So my number one thought right now is that I need to try and force sound barrier out, and I need to make sure that I don't get one punched by Doom, like as I'm blading. Why would you not headshot him? Super unfortunate there.
Go, go.
Hanzo's one. Where is this one?
Get Moira.
Super unfortunate. A little bit cleaner control of your blade and you wouldn't have had any issue there at all. So I would want to see you just kind of looking at that.
Winston's one.
Not because like your timing was horrible or anything like that. It allowed you guys to clear that point much faster than you would have otherwise. But you have to have control and making sure that you're going for the right target. Like the coalescing Moira is way more important than the Lucio.
We need to kill the healers.
And coalescing is one of the best times that you can kill her actually, because if she doesn't, she won't have any sort of fade or anything like that, where she can bait you.
Zero deaths.
Tracer has a 0 death as well. I don't care if you killed one of them. Both need to die. They can both fall.
So your team is maybe identifying that they have an issue with the Tracer.
That's right, so.
And so if you only play Genji, that's one thing. But Genji struggles to kill Doom. Genji struggles to kill Tracer. Genji does struggle to kill Moira, but only just from the fact that it's very common to get baited. You use your dash, and then she fades, and then you feel useless. So, if you only play Genji, awesome. Ignore what I'm saying. If you play other DPS, maybe would be a good time to switch.
I know, I tried to.
Moira's dead.
I killed her.
Really encourage you not to go on here. You guys are not winning. And so you're just going to stagger and charge your enemy's ults. There you go.
I'm not doing anything on Mario. We need someone to kill him.
So it's unlucky that you're playing in a 2-stack, but it feels like you guys have very little coordination. I don't know if you guys are talking in Discord or something like that, but you guys haven't had a single Nano Blade.
Get Moira.
Unlucky. You guys haven't had a single Nano Blade, and most of the good plays that feel like there was coordination could have been made with just a random Ana. Like, for example, when they got slept, and then you went over there to deflect. Like, that's just something you could do purely off of sound cues. And so if you're not going to have any coordination in your 2-stack, you might have a rougher time climbing, because you're going to go against 2-stacks that are coordinating. It's not a guaranteed thing or anything like that. If you're both mechanically skilled players, if she's a good Ana, so then you know you have a good Ana, all those things can help. But what that is one thing that would stand out to me, especially if you were trying to hit like Grandmaster or something, your guys' communication is far too low.
And one death.
I don't disagree with your choice to go Monkey, and I'm not going to spend too much time on your Monkey because it's very different than Genji, and there's not very much time left of this match. But make sure that you're, because this does apply to Genji too, please make sure that you're diving with your full team and they're actually in a position to follow up. Because of you jumping away from the pulse bomb, you ended up in the fight, but your Hammond wasn't ready to follow up yet. So it ended up being just a really bad place to be. And then there, I mean, I would just encourage you to fall back when your team is resetting. Especially when they're running any form of dive. A lot of players haven't been able to play the dive meta in forever, and so they forget that dive meta actually can spawn camp, especially resetting players, very easily.
Can you kill this Winston? Hello, where's our damage?
Unlucky. I mean, overall, not a bad game. Most of your stuff that you could have done better on would have had more so to do with, honestly, mostly just the time of when you were using your abilities. Not necessarily like, oh, you can't hit your dash or anything like that, but like, for example, like you have a very nice deflect where you try and save your Ana, but you do it too early, so then she's not awake yet. Or you have a nice dash where you're going to try and get some early kills on the enemy team, but you did it while the Mei was kind of like freezing you, and so then that didn't allow you to wall climb like you wanted to, and you got farmed and your team lost first point. And so it's like you have kind of almost a foundation in your abilities there, and I would want to see you keep focusing on your abilities to make sure that you can actually maximize them and can actually use them. And the same thing kind of happened with a lot of your positioning. Like, first point, you had really great or good enough positioning, depending on the style that you were going to play. You had good enough positioning to assist your team, but then you rotated from the flanking style of Genji to more of the utility style to try and kill that Winston. And when you did that, all it ended up doing was taking you out of position, giving their Widow more free reign, and made you use a cooldown. So like, if you wanted to play the utility style of Genji from the start, that is very legitimate. You could have just sat by your Rhine and played in that style. Other than that, I would want to see you get a lot of improvement in some of your thought process or like team calling process. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It can even be chat. You just type, "We get nanobladed here." That allows your team to at least try and prepare for it. And think about kind of what you can do to help prevent things like that. Like when your team was having a really rough time with a Doomfist with a Tracer, and we were still on Genji, we could be having a great, fantastic Genji game, but there is counters in this game. There is counter picking in this game, and Genji really struggles to, I mean, just look at the comp they ended on even. Who is Genji going to kill? I know you're not Genji anymore, but realistically, the two that you have a real chance of killing are these two, and even then, speeds away, fades away. Leaves you in a really awkward spot. So definitely try and focus a little bit more on that, and I'm sure that you'll start doing a better time because you have some good stuff and you have some good foundations as well.